So if ever I had an idea about buying a boat, going to sea, on my own or whatever, this movie is after completely dispelling me and disavowing me of any of those intentions. Today I'm going to join Robert Redford somewhere in the middle of the Indian Ocean, and here's my review of All Is Lost. All Is Lost is the brand new film by J.C. Chand, or you might remember him from his directorial debut of Margin Call, which was out about 2 years ago. It starred Zachary Quinto and Kevin Spacey, and it told the story of, I suppose, kind of the financial crisis, in its early days in 2007, 2008. It was an excessively talky picture. There was a lot of talking, not very much action or whatever. And he's completely gone about face with this because, in comparison to Margin Call, there is no talking in this film whatsoever. We start off with a very short and very brief opening monologue by Robert Redford's character, who is the main character in the film, and he is obviously at the end of his rope. He's been at sea, and he's exclaiming essentially, "All is lost." We don't know why all is lost, but we're thrown into the movie when it goes 8 days earlier in the story. We join Robert Redford as he's asleep in his boat. Water flows into the cabin after he's hit something, and it turns out when he goes on deck that he's after hitting a cargo container which is somehow floating in the middle of the ocean. It's pierced his hull. So this is the first sort of disaster that befalls him in relation to this. And it's the first disaster in a series of disasters. I mean, this guy could not have worse luck. He gets a hole poked in his boat by a cargo container. His radio goes out. The batteries are dead. He's running low on food and water. There's a lot of different things where you do get to the point in the film where you're like, oh my God, like, could anything else go wrong with this guy? I'd be very surprised if I was in that position. I would be swearing, I'd be cursing, all sorts of stuff, even if I was on my own or with anybody else. So it is somewhat surprising to hear Robert Redford not utter a single curse word until about halfway into the movie. He's quietly stoic, he's determined, he's incredibly resourceful, and that adds to his mystery. We're given no backstory about Robert Redford's character. Even in the closing credits, all we get is cast our man Robert Redford. There is nothing else. There's no other person in this movie. There's no other body to talk to. We're completely riffing off Robert Redford's performance and his character in this. So it's a very strong performance by Robert Redford. I'm going to compare it to Gravity in the sense that once again, within the space of 2 or 3 months, we have another survival movie here. We have somebody who's on their own. We don't have George Clooney popping up out of the water to kind of, impart wisdom or any sort of homespun yarns to Robert Redford's character. He's very much on his own, and he knows it. The movie itself, as I said, has only one character, it's Robert Redford, but one of the strong points I found with the movie was the sound and the scenery. Now in terms of the sound, we have the ocean. When he sails into the middle of a storm, the sound is actually quite terrifying. The cinema was dark, you're inside in the cabin with him, and at one point when the boat turns over, my stomach actually gave a lurch. But this was actually very real to me. Whereas Gravity, I felt sort of the I suppose the urgency of her situation or whatever. In this, I felt it was much more real in All Is Lost. I felt it, his I suppose his sense of the dire straits he was in felt more immediate to me. And this was done, as I said, because of the sound and the scenery, who I suppose you could actually view as maybe two other characters who were in this movie. He is on his own, but I suppose kind of the scenery in terms of the ocean. At once it's calm and it's beautiful, and he's sort of sailing along and everything is nice. At next it's turbulent, it's unpredictable, and you never know which way this is going to go. You never know what the next thing to befall him is going to be. But there's a series of things which befall him, and you really do get to the point where you're like, what the hell is going on here? I mean, can any guy have worse luck than this? But as I said, he's very resourceful. We see him fixing the radio, we see him fixing the phones, we see him going up the mast to fix the radio at the top of the mast. He has the wherewithal to sort of fix the hole in his boat. When the boat eventually goes down and he's sort of in the boat, he has the wherewithal to be able to get water when he finds his water supply contaminated. But this is all part of the mystery. He's obviously very resourceful, he's obviously very capable, but we have no inclination as to who the guy is. We've no backstory, we join him on the boat, we don't know, is he married, has he got kids or whatever. From my point of view, it would seem that he's sailing away from something, because he's obviously written a letter at the start of the film where he's sort of saying goodbye to people, but at the same time You know, he's got rings on his finger. He's got, you know, pictures in the cabin. He's been given a present of a sextant, you know, so he can sort of, you know, navigate by the stars and the horizon, etc. So there's mystery to that, which makes it more interesting, which really, really draws you in. I find this to be a very powerful film. I know a couple of people had commented on this as well, and I actually did find as well at the end of the movie, and I'm not going to spoil the ending, but at the end of the movie, once the credits rolled up, which are very brief, people actually sat in their seats. They found it actually, I think, that powerful that they sat in their seats and they just watched, and until sort of, you know, the lights came up, people wouldn't get up out of their seats. So it was very powerful. It's a compelling tale. It's a survival tale. Will he, won't he survive? That's up to you to find out if you go to see All Is Lost. I totally enjoyed the movie. I would give it 8 out of 10, and I would urge you to go and see it. Anyway, that's my review for All Is Lost, and this is Bill with FilmHook. Check you later. If you like this, by the way, subscribe down the bottom, and I'll check you later for my review of American Hustle. Take care. Bye.